we're trying to get the Massena Chapter back together again. And my understanding, the research that I've been doing, along with what you sent with me, we found out that there was not only one, but two chapters actually here. They started and ended 2 different times. But anyways, the last time that we know, anyways, was right around 1971 when they finally called it quits for good. One of the interesting things that I thought was really great was the fact, and I just found this out a few minutes ago too, I knew that you sponsored the Canton chapter, I knew that you sponsored the Cornwall chapter, but I didn't know that you sponsored the Malone chapter. And I did have, but probably the most interesting thing is we talked about the fact that really the reason that it was put together was obviously President Eisenhower.
The Queen.
Yeah, President Eisenhower, the project, the Seaway.
They told us that when they didn't recruit us. But
they didn't tell you that?
Well, we talked about it, of course, but that wasn't why we joined necessarily. But hey, come on down, we got a bunch that's going to sing for the Queen once in this. And we started practicing then, I suppose. We knew what we were going to sing when we started working on it.
You remember what you sang, did you?
Yeah.
The songs were songs?
I think we sang both the country songs, God Save the Queen, and then maybe the Star Spangled Banner, I'm not sure, but then we sang Son of the Sea, which is it used to be Massena's theme song.
Yep, I'm familiar with it.
And that's about it. We waited in the fog, like I told you, about hours until the fog cleared, and the 2 dignitaries on the bridge or whatever of the ship, and they stood there and they waved at us, and we waved at them. And one other thing, you probably won't, in that picture I gave you, we had yachting caps.
Oh, yachting caps.
And blue jackets and yachting caps.
And you say you waited in the fog, I guess it was, for a couple hours?
Several hours. They were delayed downstream in Montreal somewhere, and 3 hours roughly. And the funny part was that the ship was on the locks, and we were from here to the street, and we couldn't see it. And that's how thick it was.
Yeah, right. Thanks for waiting, guys.
There they are.
It must have been quite an event, too, because the newspaper articles, the clipping that you sent me, it said 200 barber shoppers greet the Queen.
They made it an international thing. They had every barber shopper within
earshot.
I think there were, it says in the paper, I think there was a course from Vermont, possibly. I'm sure downstate, I don't remember the different courses. But it was designed that way. We were going to put on a show, It's a good showing. So they bust us down from school. Lined up, and there we stood. And there we stood. Didn't find out. It happened. Well worth it.
Nice. Not many barber shoppers can say they sang for the Queen.
That's true.
So the chapter was together probably in all of a good 13 years or so. Do you remember what night they used to rehearse on? What night did you guys meet?
I'm trying to think. I don't.
I'm just curious.
Monday or Tuesday.
Monday or Tuesday. That's the most. Do you remember where you rehearsed at the time?
The only place I remember was at high school.
At the high school.
One of our.
Now that's not the high school that's existing today, because that's a new building, right? Was there an older building, or was that it?
Well, I don't know what you're saying. That was built because of this thing. I think it was here, and maybe an operation then.
Yeah.
That's the only building I remember.
Okay.
Harley Dingman, one of the first directors, and spark plugs and stuff. He was high school principal and whatever, so we had an end with it at school.
Very cool.
So that worked out. And of course, that's where our shows were and so on. Yeah. We did a lot of singing.
Known pretty well in the public.
I don't recall if there was one to a convention. It must have.
Well, you hosted 2 conventions here, I
Hosted
understand,
two,
right?
so we wouldn't have to go.
So we wouldn't have to go. But that must have been great, for the. I mean, what a great! You've got an incredible, tourist attraction here. I would think any Centerlander would love to come up here.
Strangely enough, there's people in town that move down.
Well, yeah. Well, that's
the way it is.
Let's face it, that's everywhere. So, in fact, the funny thing, we were over at the radio station earlier, the what was it, BYA or something like YBG. Anyways, yeah, and Mr. Wade told us then that he said he was talking about he actually used the term the greatest kept secret, and we use that all the time in barbershopping and all. And that guy's he's a marketing expert. That's where he got his background there. So we were over there, and we're going to get some really great coverage from the radio stations here, from a couple different stations. But yeah, we're really excited about this. We potentially got a place for you to meet. Hopefully that'll be great. We've been welcomed so incredibly well by the mayor's office, by the Chamber of Commerce. You know, all the media has been just wonderful. Everybody we talked to earlier, Pete and Larry, they were going around talking to guys, the guys at the coffee club, like at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Guys thought it was great.
But
Place to be.
Absolutely.
even the excitement, they're excited for the opportunity to see a new
Well,
chapter.
some of the old timers in that coffee club remember us from the old days.
And I tell you something, I think there's going to be a great base of potential membership going back to the Chamber of Commerce, because when I stepped there, they have musical groups that meet there. And then he gave, by the way, I've got some other things I want to share with you, but I've got some websites and they have like Music in the Park series. It's a big long name about this long. I can't Village something or other. I got that one from WSMM, from out the FM station out there. And but I see some really wonderful things happening here. I do, you know. I appreciate you. I appreciate you kind of being our point of contact here initially to start out.
It's thanks to you, Clark, and barbershoppers like you that have really set the whole stage. So we wouldn't be around still going strong
I
now.
like to think there's more of us in town than just me.
Oh, there is. I know there is. We just
They might come out of the woodwork. I mean, these guys I knew then, and time goes by, and you don't know them anymore.
Well, look at it this way.
You go your separate ways, and
Those guys that were here, they probably had sons and grandsons and uncles and brothers and things like that. There's more than we know.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt.
Absolutely. We get the flyers put out.
There's no doubt about it.
an awful lot of them, like I mentioned before, are moving on because the plants transfer. And
Yep.
one of the guys I remember pretty well was a guy named Jerry Nelson, and he was a guy that, I'm not sure he was from here, but he came to town to work at Alcoa, I believe, and married a local girl. And he was a lot of fun, and we had a good time. And I turned my kayak over one time at a party just because he didn't know how to operate it. And he probably moved on to Pittsburgh or wherever they go.
Yeah, right.
And the guys from the Seaway back to wherever they were, the engineers moved down to huge construction companies. They all had supervisors, etc., etc. And they went on to another big project somewhere.
Yep.
And the names of the construction people that were there then, you'd see them all over the world.
Yeah. Well, those guys working on the project, especially the Seaway and the other projects, they had to have something to do. You mentioned before that all those extra thousands of people, it probably doubled or even tripled the size of the town then. They had to have something to do. They had schools and,
I don't think there was a motel or a trailer park. But in the area, and trailer park bloomed like roses. I mean, where else were they going to be?
exactly.
I mean, these guys were just here temporarily. They didn't necessarily want to. Some of them stayed. Some of our favorite people stayed around and made a life for themselves.
Right.
Several, right? My hotel. Track the kids up.
Now I remember, Art. It was over in Norwood. That's where the place was, Norwood. There's a lot of, they're doing the series in the park, the music series. He said they do that, and they do productions like 10 a year, And his guy, he actually saw regular off-Broadway performances. They brought traveling Broadway shows, productions.
Cats, he saw them.
And those people are musicians, so they're obviously, and people that go to those shows, maybe we could get their mailing list or something like that when we tell them what we're looking to do, But you've got a lot of surrounding areas also, with the areas where we've got the Norwood area, and outside of Massena. What are the other places? I'm trying to think of the names off the top of my head, but these little Madrid and
Madrid, Washington Airport.
huge school in Madrid.
We had a big group when I first moved to camp, and they were from Washington. Madrid had several, of course, Canton and
Lisbon,
Bell Row, and several others from Massena. When they folded here in Massena, those that wanted to and could.
Okay. Well, anyways, we just really appreciate the time that you've given us here. We just had a nice little lunch, and just know that we're going to work really hard to get this thing going again, okay? And
Glad to hear it. Glad to talk to you guys anytime. Is there any way I can help within reason?
thanks for having us in your town.
I can.
Appreciate it very much.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.